Now, on Tuesday, Senate Republicans and the Banking Committee decided to hold a hearing to assess the effects of consumer finance regulations. Now, I think we all know at this point, when the Republicans call a hearing to assess regulation, they're really just there to make the case for deregulation. That is, of course, until Elizabeth Warren comes to town.
Senate Republicans called this hearing today to talk about the costs of regulating consumer financial products like mortgages and payday loans and credit cards. I want to focus on the other side of the equation, and that is the cost to American families of failing to regulate consumer financial products. Mr. Chanin, as Senator Brown mentioned, from 2005 to 2011, you held top positions in the Federal Reserve's Division of Consumer and Community Affairs. And in those positions, you had both the legal authority and the legal responsibility to regulate deceptive mortgages, including dangerous subprime lending that sparked the 2008 financial crisis. But you didn't do it, despite years of calls and even begging from consumer advocates and others asking you to act. Instead, you did essentially nothing. Now, your failure had devastating consequences. The Bipartisan Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission identified, and I'm quoting here, the Federal Reserve's pivotal failure to stem the flow of toxic mortgages, close quote, as the, quote, prime example, close quote, of the kind of hands-off regulatory approach that allowed the 2008 crisis to happen. Now, according to the Dallas Fed, that crisis cost the American economy an estimated $14 trillion. It cost millions of families, their homes, their jobs, their savings. It devastated communities across America. So when you talk now about how certain regulations are too costly or too difficult to comply with, you sound a lot like you did before the 2008 crisis when you failed to act. So my question is, given your track record at the Fed, why should anyone take you seriously now?
Damn, dude. Why should anyone take you seriously after you just failed? She's already taken this asshole to the woodshed. I love it. This is great. This is why we love Elizabeth Warren. But anyway, now this guy is going to take a few seconds to try to defend himself before Elizabeth Warren continues to destroy him. Watch.
There was simply no data provided to the Fed on a statistic. Let me finish, please, Senator. On a statistical basis that suggested that there was a meltdown in the mortgage market in 2005
I'm sorry,
and 2006.
are you saying...
Oh, see, it's no data. No data, not our fault. We didn't see this coming. We couldn't have known. I mean, we only deregulated the industry because it made our donors very, very rich. You know, but hey, look, we thought people would be responsible without any rules, right? Right? Besides, all you have is anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal evidence, because there was no hard statistical data. Now, Warren, of course, is not happy with that, and she will now go on to destroy him.
Are you saying there were no data in the lead up to the financial crash that showed the increasing default rates on subprime mortgages and what they were doing to communities across America? Did you have your eyes stitched closed?
There was anecdotal evidence, to be sure.
I'm not
but there was no hard data.
Are you telling me you never saw any data about the increases in mortgage foreclosure rates before the crash in 2008? Is that what you're saying here?
No hard data was presented to the Fed until the crisis erupted in 2008.
Let's just be clear. If you want to defend your tenure, it's not just me or consumer advocates who are calling your Fed tenure a disaster. The Bipartisan Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission spent years looking into the causes of the crisis and identified the Fed's failure to regulate subprime mortgages as one of the key drivers of the collapse of 2008. That was you. Even former Chair Greenspan admitted that the Fed made a mistake by failing to regulate subprime mortgages. That was you. If you are still defending your time at the Fed and saying you had no information about a problem that was emerging, then frankly, that raises even more questions about your judgment.
Senator, do you have a question?
I do, and I will
Okay,
get there,
thank you.
but thank you for indulging me on this, Mr. Chanin.
Damn. Thank you for indulging me on this one. Yeah, indulging her on how he failed at his job at being a regulator. He didn't regulate shit. And I love it when she actually points that out. She's essentially throwing haymakers right at him. And they're effective. He can't say anything. In fact, this isn't even the best. I think the best part is when he declined to answer one of her simple questions, right? And he declined it several times. She had this to say afterwards.
You know, Mr. Chanin, when I was setting up the CFPB, I was told that even though you played a key role in blowing up the economy, that I needed to hire you because you were one of the few people with the technical expertise needed to write the Dodd-Frank rules. Now, people said that you and your team made a terrible decision that helped crash the economy, but we needed to keep you all around because you were the only ones who really understood the mistakes that had been made. And when you wanted the job at the CFPB, you claimed that you had learned from your failure. But I see today that's obviously not the case. Of all the people who might be called on to advise Congress about how to weigh the costs and benefits of consumer regulations, I am surprised that my Republican colleagues would choose a witness who might have one of the worst track records in history on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That's how you get it done. That's how you hold Republicans accountable for their bullshit. Nice work, Senator Warren. Nice work.